Kane, it's 1-0. We're freaking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it's time for your live instant match reaction after Leeds drew at home in the FA Cup against Plymouth Argyle. Really, if I'm honest, tale of two halves. I thought first half, Leeds United were very good. Probably should have created more, and had we created more, found the back of the net. Let's not forget we had a crossbar, we had the post. There was many chances to win the game. Could have been out of sight. For whatever reason, the second half comes around and Leeds United come out a totally different side. People will tell you that is on Farker, not for me. There was a distinct drop off from personnel. Maybe they felt the game, they had the game won. I don't know, Chris. What's on Farker? 100%. You tell me why, Chris, and I'll agree with you if you can give me the reason why. I think you're talking rubbish, but if you can give me the reason why, I'd be willing to discuss it. And that's why we have these live instant match reactions. We can wait for some other content creators to join me and give me their opinion, because they'll have a different opinion to me, and that's why we like to do it. But I felt, like I say, a game of two halves for me, because Leeds United, were great in the first half. We're really good in the first half, and then dropped off. Whether that's a mentality issue, I'm not too sure. But we allowed them back into the game. They get a scrappy goal. I'd have to see it back. It looked like Shackleton totally negated his responsibilities. And then we get found wanting. It's a great goal for them, really. I put it down to this. This is what I would say, Skip. A little bit of complacency. I think the players that came at Nonto, it did nothing for me over the course of 90 minutes. I don't know if he's trying too hard and needs to relax a little bit. Anthony got his goal. What a goal it was. But yeah, Piroe, pretty non-existent. Outside of that, I don't know what. Gruyev was good. Ampadu was good. Rodon and Cooper were good. But it was genuinely, as Jamie says, in sort of Jekyll and Hyde. Really Jekyll and Hyde performance. Ollie Ward's going to be joining us first and foremost. So let's chat to Ollie. Ollie, how did you see? Annoyed, obviously, that we're going to have a replay. At least we've not lost, but it almost feels like a loss, because that replay could sting, bro.
Yeah, I'm in a similar sort of headspace where it's not the end of the world, but it's just a bit annoying, isn't it? I think that's the thing. It is just annoying. First half I was complimenting how well we were playing. I thought we looked like we were having a bit of fun with it. Every player seemed to. I saw some sort of like aura, like we're not going to lose. Of course, we're not going to lose.
Yeah.
And then second half, it completely went. And fair play to Plymouth. I thought they brought some decent fans with them as well. And the atmosphere at Ellen Road, it's been in. I don't like to sit here and say about it because I don't go to the games, but people have been saying the atmosphere has been flat. I thought it was brilliant today.
Yeah, it was good today. Yeah,
I just thought. If anything, it's just annoying. And I've been listening in the wings there about the likes of Nonto. I think you're right. I think he is trying too hard to maybe impress Daniel Farker. Like, look, I am still good, but he's doing too much. Piroe in the number 9 doesn't work for me. He's non-existent. But then I agree. Gruyev and Ampadu and Rodon and Cooper were probably my 4 that stood out. And I know you've changed in recent weeks, but I still worry with Meslier. I still really do worry with Meslier. I know it wasn't a massive fault for the goal today. I'm not saying that. It's just
I'd have to see it back. Do you think he was, bro?
No, not for the goal. No, not for the goal. I just think in general, I don't see a presence there. Sometimes it looks like we've got an under 18 in goal sometimes, and I know he's still young, but I want him to have a bit more presence. But for the goal, personally, what it looked like Shackleton was way up the pitch for me.
Yeah.
And
they just put it into that space that he negated, right? I think I remember seeing Ampadu like, what's on there, And
it was Rodon as well, who kind of was screaming after the goal, like, and you see him do that every game. But it's just like I said, it's just disappointing. It's just disappointing that we have to go play them again, really.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's going to be midweek and it's travelled out of Plymouth. And I don't know where they'll squeeze the game in, but you probably imagine it'd be within the next week or so, which isn't great because we play Friday, and then they'll probably look at it and say, right, let's stick it in that week. And yeah, so it's poor. You know, I think a lot of the general look. Who do you put this on? Because a lot of people, you know, I'm a massive Farker fan, so sometimes, you know, people tell me still won't see the light on Farker and all this as though it's his fault. I think it's not, but just out of interest, and I don't want to, you know, give you your own opinion. Like, who do you see this as being the fault for that drop off, mate? It definitely felt that.
What, as in this game in particular?
In this game, yeah.
I think you can look at Farker maybe, you know. I don't really know. I don't think it's down to one thing necessarily. I think you've brought it up, but complacency is a massive thing. Maybe we thought that we were 2 or 3-0 up and we just let him get back into it.
Yeah.
I don't think the subs were brilliant, if I'm honest. Not necessarily the
they were wrong. Do you think it's more their impact? I feel that at the minute, you know, and Evie spoke about game changers, which I disagree with, but maybe she's right again. You know, like there seems to be a lack of impact from the bench.
Yeah, there does. And I thought Poveda coming on, I thought, here we go. But then I feel like he is now maybe too similar to the players we've got. I thought Poveda used to be a bit different to the players we had, where he was a bit flary, but now you need something else. I feel like Rutter does that, Nonto does that, Sunville does that. So then when Poveda does come on, it's a bit like, okay, we've already got that on the pitch. We actually need something else. And I thought Bamford actually made a really good impact. Like, he had a few chances. And I don't think I can't put it, Joe, down to one fault really today. I think I don't know. What would you say? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think the game was there, bro. Like, I put it down to coming out that second half and almost feeling like the game is won. Because if we're being honest, I said it myself. I said this could be like watching City, in the respect that sometimes they're just too much above the opposition. They've got the goal. They almost feel like the game's won. Let's just keep knocking it about. We're going to be totally fine. And I genuinely feel it's almost a complacency issue for me. The personnel that I don't even put it down to the subs. I just think the 11 that was out there. Look, Piroe, again, massive question marks. I don't want to hammer him too much, but you know, the lads told us who know much more about ball than me, and Lockie and Andrea, said that this guy does not fit the system. You know, and people said, you know, play him in the 9, just play him in the 9. It's the same type of performance as when he plays in the 10, Ollie. It is non-existent, bro. Like, what did he do in that game, bro? Really?
No, and I think, I mean, we were barking, and I know Joe as well is just saying, you know, just chuck him at number 9. It seems easy, then it's not seemed to be that case. I've been the one. Not.
Exactly. Who knew football management and coaching was hard?
Well, yeah, not YouTubers doing it, and that's fair enough. But no, I feel like, he's. I've been saying it for ages. When he's not doing anything, when he's on the pitch, he's not doing anything. Sometimes he seems a bit like a burden. Like, when you're trying to play fast ball, he'll take one too many touches, or he'll just be in the way, or he can't get out of his feet quick enough. It's like he's never on his toes when I watch him. And that's, you learn basics. Like, my dad always used to scream at me from the sideline, like, Wardy, on your toes. Like, that's all I'd get every game. And it's basics. You've got to be ready for the ball to come to you sometimes. And it seems, and I think you maybe mentioned it about Bamford. He now understands the way the likes of the Rutters and Somervilles play, you know, with the little flicks and stuff. And he's reading them more. I feel like Piroe's declined. I feel like he's now, I don't know, he just doesn't get it anymore. But he started off brilliantly with you know, scoring at the start of the season. But since then, he has been, I don't know, he's just been out of it completely.
Yeah, I agree. We've got the tribal chief, Mr. JT. Mate, like, how do you see it? I don't know if you were doing a watch along, bro. Maybe you were, maybe you weren't. I don't know. But how did you see the game, bro?
No, I was, and for me, it was an archetypal game of two halves, in my opinion. I thought the first half we really started a lot better. I wouldn't say we were phenomenal. I wouldn't say we blew anyone away, but we controlled the game. We had 72%.
We didn't need to did we, bro? We were just on top. Like, it was too easy, bro. It felt to me the first half, I was like, this is training ground stuff, man.
it's training ground stuff, but then you're walking away at halftime only 1-0 to the good. And that's the problem we have. We're not taking advantage when we have the opportunities. Like, it's all fine and dandy for me to sit here and say, yeah, we controlled the first half. It looked easy for us. But how many times have we walked away from games saying the exact same thing? We looked in control. It looked easy. We stepped our foot off the gas. And then before you know it, Plymouth come back and end up getting what I thought was a very suspect goal. I thought the defending was poor in it, but they got themselves the goal and came back into it. And I was disappointed at the way we kind of threw it away in the second half, really. Just really sloppy from a lot of players.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree with you, bro. We've definitely thrown it away. You can't, like you said, and I've just said training ground, but then to not get more goals. And there were opportunities, let's not forget Jaden Anthony hits the crossbar, Nonto hits the post.
Even Gruev hit the ball.
Gruev, that was in the second as well. We should have been out of sight. And I felt, after that initial 5 minutes that Plymouth had, we were just far and away the better side, and then to come out in the second half, I felt the performance just dropped off. I don't know. Outside of the defenders, Ollie, like you mentioned, I thought Cooper and Rodon had a good game for me personally. I don't know who else I look at and say, oh, they were class today. Listen, Jaden was great for his goal. Let me just praise that. And Wavy Ag says, my cousin kicking on and scoring the goal, Jaden. That was for Mumsy still. So big up. And I agree with that. His goal was taken fantastically well. But outside of that, we're not looking and going, Shackleton's staked a claim. Again, Nonto did not stake a claim. No. I think we needed Kamara in midfield just for a bit. I just think for me, Ampadu and Grieve are too samey, man. They're too similar.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think a game like today definitely needed a bit more aggression, like a Kamara, to win that ball back up the pitch. But in fairness, they didn't play awfully, Ampadu or Gruev. I thought Rodon and Cooper were good. I thought, Byram and Shackleton got caught a lot in this game. I really did, and especially Shackleton for the goal, which was disappointing. And like we spoke about earlier, it's basics, and the defenders and everyone else around him is screaming at him because, again, maybe because I think at that point Rutter was playing out on the right or something. He needs to be tracking back more, I believe. But I don't know. It's one of these games where I'm not like fully annoyed because obviously we haven't lost the game. It's more just annoying because, we have to play them again. But I'm not sitting here saying we need to do this. This needs to change. Farke hasn't done, because at the end of the day, it wasn't the worst.
There will be some. There will be some that will be. Of course.
To be fair, I was kind of 50-50 with that because at the beginning of the game, I was saying, listen, I'd rather us lose than have to play a replay, because I think a replay is just so long. And with the tough season we got ahead of us, trying to catch teams like Southampton and Ipswich, the replay seemed like the worst case alternative for me. The only thing that changed my mind on that, I suddenly started thinking at the end of the game when Plymouth almost did steal a winner, and I was like, actually, you know what? We do have that unbeaten home record. I don't want to waste that with a stupid defeat against Plymouth. So I'll take an extra game. But I think an extra game is so poor from us to give away.
It's annoying as well because, again, it was looking a bit not too good to be true because we are playing brilliant football. But we've won this. If we play Friday, we drop into second for even for a few hours. And now, because then we've got a game, probably the game after that or something like that, it's now just going to start clunking up. And I don't know. It's another one of them games where I can't sit here and say we were awful because we weren't, but then we're letting games go, because that could have easily been Norwich. Do you know what I mean? That's why I saw similarities where we've done well to hang on against Norwich. It's one of them that, again, we played well in parts, but we let them come into it. And that reminded me a lot of the Norwich performance. Obviously, we didn't have every starter in there, but, we could have been sitting here this time, whenever we played Norwich last week, and been saying the same thing. But it's one of them, innit? It's one of them.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? The replay, I'd imagine it's going to be within the next week or so. You know what I mean? I don't know when the fifth round, but the draw's tomorrow, so it'll be Leeds and Plymouth versus X. So the draw will have to be quick time. Obviously, we play Friday and then Swansea, so it might get sandwiched in between that game potentially. And then you've got Plymouth anyway again, so it's like 2 away trips to Plymouth in quick succession, which isn't great. Listen, Plymouth are good away from home as well, and You know, maybe it is a little bit of arrogance from the squad in that second half, and almost from me. You know, I was in the watch along talking about the draw, talking about, by Friday we're going to be second and in the 5th round. It's nosebleed territory, and you know, and almost like I felt it was won. I almost feel that that's how the second half transpired for Leeds United. And then when you've allowed your performance level to drop significantly, when they do get a goal, it's then like, how do we quickly get that back up to the level? And you know, we struggle to do that. I thought Poveda injected something. I don't know. Ollie, you were mentioning Poveda earlier on. What were you saying again?
I thought he did for a few minutes, if I'm being completely honest.
Fair.
I think he did for a few minutes, and then I just saw the similar things. And again, I think Poveda is a good little player. I really do. And I think he would do well actually at another club, like on loan. I personally would. Because I think he offers similarities to the players we have. I really do. Like he moves a bit like Rutter. And I just don't think sometimes in a game like this we needed something a bit different. But yeah, like you said, he gave a bit of an impact. But I thought Bamford came on and we actually had a bit of a target man because, like you said, Piroe all game he's just in the way. I just find like he's just always like you're looking for a counter attack and he's just taken one too many touches, or he's just I don't know, he's just in the way.
Mate, he lost possession 9 times that game.
Bro. He's cheeks, bro.
Well, I wouldn't say he's cheeks. Listen, I said he doesn't work in the system, mate. He played cheeks today. I tell you that. As you said, he just holds everything up. He's too slow sometimes. He takes the extra touch when he doesn't need to. He tries to play the ball when he's not meant to. He was losing possession. We just don't have that focal threat. We don't, and there was a big opportunity for him today. Like the only thing you can look at a replay in an extra cup game is, okay, it's an opportunity for some of the fringe players to make a name for themselves. I would say I thought you guys were a little bit harsh on Jaden Anthony the way you said, because you said like he took his goal well. I thought aside from that, I thought he was very dangerous. I thought if anyone, especially in the second half, looked like they were going to create something for us, I thought it would be Jaden Anthony. I thought it was a phenomenal performance from him, really. Best performance I've seen him put in a Leeds shirt, that's for sure. Even created that big chance for Piroe in the second half. And it goes back to what you were saying, Joe. Listen, at the beginning of the season, we were all happy enough. A lot of us were happy enough. I wasn't really, to sit there and maybe say, okay, he's not really working in the system. He's kind of slowing down our play. But at least he's, when he gets half a chance, he'll score. But now he's not even scoring those chances. He's getting the opportunities and he's missing them. So what is he actually providing in there for us?
Yeah, 100%. No. And let me just qualify. I wasn't saying Anthony had a bad game. I was just thinking that was the shining light. I agree with you. We're looking at players to take their opportunity. Gruyev did that. For me, Anthony did that. Nonto definitely didn't. Again, we were saying at the start, JT, I don't know if you agree, that it almost feels to me that Nonto's trying too hard. And he needs to relax. It's like he's into every challenge. And that was another thing. Mateo Joseph's doing the same. He comes on and every game he's fucking giving away a free kick. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, just calm down. But yeah, listen, Anthony was very good. I mean, his goal was, Ollie, speak about the goal. Oh, yeah, go on, Ollie, speak about the goal. Brilliant.
It was a brilliant goal. I mean, I was watching it. I was thinking, he's going to lose it in a minute. He's going to lose it. And then he's just buried it. A lovely little goal. And, no man deserves it more than that man after the few weeks he's had. And, fair play to him. He's been brilliant on and off. He's been with the squad even throughout everything. But obviously, you probably all said before, wishing best for him and his family and stuff. Yeah. But I've been a massive, I've criticised Anthony a lot. I remember coming on here a few weeks ago and said, I watch him come on and I don't see anything. I really don't. But for me today, his best game in a league shirt, lovely goal. And like you said, he's one of the ones that I go, okay, so if Somerville's having a bit of a, you can bring on Anthony. I think you're right with Nonto. I don't know what it is, because we're looking at Nonto and Piroe like, why should Bamford play? Because Bamford's awful, and Dan James should be playing because Dan James. But Dan James is doing twice as much as Nonto's doing this season. Yeah. So is Bamford now. I mean, Piroe, I really don't understand. Like I said, I've been saying it from early as well, that when he doesn't score, what does he do? Like, what are his attributes? He's not quick. Like, he's not tricky. Like, he's got a good shot on him, and I was happy for him when he got the goal against Preston, the penalty. But I don't know. Obviously he's a natural goal scorer, but clearly, is he?
It's just the system. It's the system. And listen, the only thing I could potentially say about Nonto, I don't know if this is coping or what it is from me. Maybe, just maybe, he's one of those guys that plays to the level of his opposition, because I would say maybe he's almost the opposite to Jorginho Rutter, because you look at Rutter last year in the Premier League, he was bang averaged, he looked clunky, but he comes down in the Championship and he's sat there looking around and he's like, I am so much better than these players. And he's got the cockiness, he's got the confidence to take players on and to try things. Whereas maybe Nonto's one of those guys where when he plays against a Man United or something and he's really up for it, it can change his performance. And I know it sounds stupid to say that he's playing against lesser players and he's performing worse, but sometimes in the psychology of players, sometimes there are those players that, like a Didier Drogba, in a big game, they just turn up and they're a different kind of animal. Maybe that's coping, but that's the only thing that I can rack my head around to say, how is Nonto not absolutely dismantling a side like Plymouth? Like, if he seems keen to sign a new contract, then his head is in Ellen Road. I believe he was just poorly advised in the summer. His head is still in it. But why is he not destroying these teams when he's given the opportunity? He should be.
Yeah, I think I think you're right in a sense, and it's a way where non-Leeds fans who don't watch them every week go, God, why is Nonto sitting on the bench? Like, why?
Exactly.
That's one of the, I have to bat that off every week. I was like, well, because he's just not good enough. He's not this season, and I think it is harsh, JT, to talk about Rutter's form last year, only because he didn't really get too much time, and yes, he didn't look. But I agree with he now looks around and goes, look, I'm one of the best players in the league, if not the best. And I'm going to show you why. Where exactly the fact that three of us are sitting here and we can't point the finger on why Nonto's not doing well. It's just, I don't know. I can't give you an answer. I really can't. I don't know if the chat have any. I don't know. I literally don't know.
I mean, it's frustrating. I think to be honest, like, I think today's performance just look. Thankfully, it's not in the league. That's important. But yeah, we should have gone through with ease. Do you know what I mean? It is really frustrating. You know, you touched on Piroe, not a bad player, but just doesn't fit the system. And JT, you mentioned it as well. Maybe Nonto's struggling with that aspect because Dan James is a certain type of footballer that does certain things that maybe Nonto doesn't have in his wheelhouse. And I also feel it's maybe the lack of minutes. But you've got to take your opportunity, because none of us can sit here and say, he should be playing more, because James has been absolutely phenomenal. You can't put it. I mean, we need more bodies as well. You know, we need more bodies. Ideally, you're not calling on Shackleton. I think he was great today. I think, this is a great point as well made by Jamie, and it's mad the turnaround, but Firpo just gives us so much more balance, having a left-footed left back. And I've said before, I want Byram starting every week, but it does break down because he's always having to cut in, whereas Firpo's just able to whip his foot round it. I'm not saying Firpo starts, we win the game, but there is something to be had when we talk about balance in the team, and he does really offer us that. And it's no surprise that's where Farke went with his sub and said, right, Firpo, you come on, Bamford, come on. Again, I think we create a lot. I think we create even more if Bamford starts, because again, Piroe is almost non-existent as a 9. We were talking about it. He's not a 9, he's not a 10. I don't know what he is, but whatever he is, he doesn't fit what we're trying to do.
It's just clueless. And like you said, I think since we've seen Firpo with this upturn of form, I think it's exposed the real weakness that we had at fullback, and we didn't realize it. Like Sam Byram, for me, if you're going to play him in his natural position out of right back. Give him an opportunity there. You're playing Jamie Shackleton out. Jamie Shackleton is never going to be a fullback for Leeds United. Archie Gray has been pushed out of position. Give Byram his opportunity there. Bring in another left back. Bring in another fullback. Why are we sat here in the 27th of January in a position, I don't want to repeat myself, but the 27th of January, we all said at the beginning of the window, we need to sign fullbacks. We've let 2 go and we've brought none in. Like, it's really getting to squeaky bum time now, and we're exposed with the weakness that we have at fullback. I thought we were exposed in those areas there. The second you bring Firpo and Bamford on, you see the team starts to flow a little bit, which is why I wanted to ask you guys potentially if you blame Farke for this, because the one thing I will level at him it confuses me. I don't want to be one of those guys that just jumps on him because, like last week or maybe I thought his changes, his substitutions were fantastic. I thought they worked perfectly. They impacted the game well. He does something like that. And then he goes into a game today and his decision making just really baffles me. Once again, I would blame Joseph because when he comes on, he gets his opportunity. He doesn't really do much, but he's playing in such a weird formation when he comes on because whenever he brings him on, he lumps 3 strikers in there. He was playing Piroe in the 8 by the end of the game. He was playing as a deep midfielder. Why again does he throws Bamford and Firpo on? It's working for a few minutes. We look like we might create something. Then he decides to take Rutter off, who I thought was actually playing some of the best football he played all game in the past 10 to 15 minutes. I thought he was finally starting to grow into it and actually look like he creates something. You take him off to put Joseph on. So yet again, you've got a situation where you've got 3 strikers on the pitch and no one to create any opportunity. How is that going to help us score? Like, I know you could blame the players and it's not all his fault, but sometimes his decision...
It's only worked once, JT. It's only worked once where he's banged loads of striker on. I think it was the Norwich game. Outside Norwich, that, it's not worked.
No,
then just take Piroe off and put Joseph on for him and keep Rutter deeper. It's so simple.
Yeah, I do think the Rutter change was wild because if anyone's going to create anything, it's going to be him. Go on.
Yeah.
Ollie,
well, no, I think you're right. Like that has only worked once, and that was the Norwich comeback when we kind of went to a 3-6 or whatever we done, and it looked good, and everyone was like, "Here we go!" Like, this is a good little thing we've got going. But I don't think it's worked since. I think you're right, but I also want to counter the argument that if we started Firpo today, if we started Bamford, how many people would have said we're not rotating it enough? This is a cup game. Why is he playing? And all I saw was, if Rutter gets injured, this is on blah blah. And you're kind of like, it's so hindsight now. We haven't won the game, and I like Firpo and Bamford. I do. I really do, but I don't think we can. I don't know if I still see it as it's 4 or 5 games they've played well. Personally, I do, and I'm not one to criticize. I'm not trying to say I think Firpo is turning really, really good, and I think Bamford's scoring goals, and that's what they should be doing. And when they came out and said, the negative brought us down and stuff, and Jer again was bang on about it. He kind of just said, when you're playing shit, take it. Like, I don't get all the death threats and stuff. That's all bollocks. But I think you're allowed to take your praises when you're playing well, but also you're allowed to we're allowed to be annoyed when they're not playing. Yeah, you're allowed that. And I think Firpo and Bamford are doing very well. I do, but that doesn't necessarily mean we don't need a left back. Like, if you think about it, we've got Firpo, Byram, and Archie Gray.
Yeah.
And 2 of them are so injury prone. Archie, he's been brilliant out on the right. Of course he has. And I'm not even going to say it's not his natural position anymore because he's playing like it is. You can play that bloke anywhere. So it's, I don't know. I still really, and I'm not one to say about Firpo and Bamford to say that they're shit because they're not. But I want to say that, we need to just remain, because football is so recency biased. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
It's so recency biased, and you've got to play players on form, and them 2 have been brilliant. But I would have started the team that he started today. I wouldn't even start at Ampadu.
Sorry to jump in just really quickly. Just to counter one of the points you said, because I hear it a lot, especially Joe even, and loads of other people have said, listen, just because they played well for 4 or 5 games doesn't get rid of what they've done the rest of the season, and it doesn't make them world beaters. But what I would say to counteract that is, what opportunities have they really had the rest of the season? Especially look at a guy like Patrick Bamford. All of his opportunities came off the bench, and we're all sat here saying when he starts games, he's a lot more effective than when he comes off the bench because he can get to speed with the game with everyone else. He's not a great player at suddenly coming into an intense 50-50 game and matching the speed that way. So when he's been given his opportunity, it's almost like 98% of the games he's played very well. And I would say the same with Firpo because he was, because of injuries and other things, was starved for opportunities himself. It's not like these guys were having stinkers the entire season starting games and now suddenly upturned in form.
I completely understand. I completely understand that, but then I can counter that by saying, then why are we sitting here talking about Nonto's form, and why are we here talking about Mateo Joseph's form when they've had similar opportunities just off the bench? So I think
you've got to take your opportunity.
Yeah,
you've got to take your opportunity.
You have to, and Bamford and Firpo have. They have.
Yeah. Let me just. I just want to respond to this. I mean, if you're, see, this is where it becomes wild though, because let me just explain to you, Sean. we are unbeaten in 6 games, having scored 13 goals and conceded 2. If Jesse could even touch that record, I'd maybe have something to say. But you're just talking cheeks, basically.
Points on his license.
Yeah, it's mad. Joe, put the chatters to bed. It's not the 49ers not approaching certain players. It's the fact certain clubs. Listen, I disagree with the general opinion. I'm quite relaxed. I get why people want more players in right now, but I do believe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will be fine. We'll get them in, and I'm more relaxed about it. If at the end of the window we've not addressed that, then naturally I won't be. But I'm just relaxed. That's just where I'm at. Everybody is different. According to Joe Blackburn as well, the replay will be the 6th and the 7th. So it's going to be sandwiched in between the Bristol City and Rotherham game. So that's going to be 3 games in effect, 8 days. Again, not great. We've then got Swansea on the Tuesday. That's what, 4 games in 11 days. Not great. And we haven't got a big squad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's not great. And that's why I think we are frustrated with it. You know, we are frustrated with it because we should have had the game won. I mean, the Plymouth coach has come out talking and saying, look, we showed them far too much respect in the first half. They're an absolutely fantastic team. We turned the screw a bit, and I felt like if only one team was going to win it, it was going to be them. That was according to him. I still think we maybe could have created more towards the end, but it is what it is. We haven't progressed yet. Do you fancy us to do it down at home park? I'm a little bit concerned because they're good at home, Ollie. They are pretty good at home. They're still not won away, by the way. That's why we should also beat them, because for me, I think they've drawn 7 away from home and lost the rest.
Well, they haven't actually won a game.
Not away from home. No.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, then.
Makes it worse, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Makes it worse.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider Darko, JB and Forshaw were out of their midfield, and they've been starting in the league. So that's, again, they couldn't play. So it's almost like it was the perfect opportunity. But like you say, it comes back to players. Before you come in, Ollie, let me bring in Joe. Joe's been at the game and sent a message saying I need to bring some relentless optimism. I think we're still quite optimistic. We probably don't sound it. It's more frustration. But Joe, talk to us, mate. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are I'm knackered. I've just run home.
That's all.
If you can hear me.
Looks like it.
We can hear you though, bro.
That's good. Because I'm on a slightly janky setup at the minute, so I just want to make sure everything's all right.
Your hair looks good, mate. It's all good.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's hard to give that much of a shit because it's the FA Cup and we're not really paying attention to it this year. However, it could be a bit of a stumbling block. If we've lost a little bit of form, that could be a bit of a problem. But I think it's the first thing that I thought when I came out of the ground was I think that's probably showed us why Piroe and Rattay combined doesn't work, because you didn't have Bamford making those runs off the back, wasn't dragging centre backs around like he normally does, and I think that was a little bit of an issue in that we weren't creating that many chances. And then even when Bamford did come on, you still had Piroe and Rattay in the same place, basically, on the pitch, which means that they're able to just sort of congest that area and cause problems. I thought Bamford was quite good as well. He only got about 10 minutes, but his first touch was a header on target, which I thought was quite good.
Good save as well, by the way. It's underrated
Really good
because,
stop,
really good save. Yeah, true. What would you have done differently, Joe? Would you have done anything differently? What do you put because there was you were at the game in the first half, completely dominant, apart from the first 5 minutes. Then second half, just massive complacent. I put it down to complacency. I'm not blaming Farker, but people will say it's because you love Farker, but what's not to love? But what I will say to you is, I put a lot of it down to complacency on the pitch, mate, from the personnel. That they felt that the game was won even at 1-0.
Yeah, I don't think I'd put it down to complacency. I think I'd put it more down to we were more aware of the fact that this is the cup and rather than the league, and it's the league where we really need to get all of the performances in. So the fact that instead we were like, okay, we're 1-0 up, we can take the foot off the gas a little bit and kind of hope that it works out. I sort of understand that mentality. I'd rather we didn't. I'd rather we did that at 2-0. But in hindsight, I'd say maybe Bamford on sooner would have helped. Maybe keeping Rattay until the end, because I thought he was really good today because he kept doing his just being really creative thing throughout the match. And yeah, I think in hindsight, it's easy to say that we would have done things a little bit differently. But I think if at 1-0 we're saying, let's just play gung-ho madness football, you're sort of potentially risking a few more injuries and things like that. And it's like last season with Accrington Stanley, for example. Like, I know, was it Accrington? I can't remember. But we won 3-0 or something. Rodrigo comes on and gets injured. In this situation, if we're 1-0 up, we go mad.
People in the chat tried to back that, by the way. You know you are. Those that are criticising me for liking Farker were the ones that went, yeah, good decision, Jesse. Good decision. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, mad. Mark Bradley, you're in the wrong sport, mate, and I'll tell you for why. Because during the game, with about 10 minutes to go, you were going, rip up Cooper's contract and all this. By the way, he'd had a great game, and then he made 2 massive blocks. And now you're saying, for all Rutters fancy football, how much does he create? You're in the wrong sport, mate. Go watch Equestrian or something like that. I think you're in the wrong business, mate. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But I swear he's still got like the most big chances created in the league.
He's saying Gruev in the 10. Like, why? You're in the wrong sport, bro. Go watch something else. Sorry, JT.
No, I was saying if Rutter doesn't create anything, I swear he's still got the most big chances created in the league. Unless
in the league, bro. Yeah.
Especially with Dewsbury Hall gone now, there's no competition.
Yeah, exactly. Farkas said, Leeds United, we never go the easy way. Shouldn't be an excuse, Daniel. He says, we wanted to go into the next round today. The first reaction is disappointment. I'm struggling to be annoyed performance-wise, though. We played a good side, and the problem is we didn't kill the game. And I think,
how can you say you're not annoyed at the performance when you just said a minute later you didn't kill the game? And first of all, listen, they weren't a great side. They're a decent side, but let's be real. We should be steamrolling them. And do you know what the weird thing is? We did the exact same thing when we played them at home earlier on in the season. It was 2-1, wasn't it? I believe I'm remembering correctly. And we were dominating the game. We didn't take a lot of chances. Luckily, we happened to score 2 instead of 1. We managed to take 1 extra chance, but we were coasting the entirety of the second half. We were sat there chilling, whatever. 5 minutes to go, Plymouth get 1 counter attack, score a dodgy goal, crossed it in, defenders in no man's land, tap it in from about 5 yards out. All of a sudden, we're sat there, on the edge of our seats, bricking it for the last 5-6 minutes that Plymouth might steal an equalizer here. But we don't learn from that, and we do the exact same thing in the cup. So for him to turn around and say, I'm not disappointed in the performance, when are you going to learn from these things? How many times have I heard him say similar things when we've given away losses to Stoke out of nowhere, draws to Rotherham? And this is, I know it's only the cup and you're saying, listen, a lot of people don't care about the cup. I would disagree with that because I actually really want a cup run, but obviously promotion is the most important thing. So if people are leaning to that side of belief, it doesn't really make a difference because how you do something is how you do everything. And if you're going to sit there and throw away a game in the cup like this, we've seen us do it about 10 to 15 times in the league as well. And we're not learning from it. That is the main negative I'll look at. We're doing the same thing. We're repeating it again and again and again, not putting teams away, not being proactive enough with the substitutions when we're not putting teams away, and just falling into the same mistakes.
I think in terms of less... Go on.
So I just want to apologise to Mark because he's saying he didn't watch it, so it must be another guy. So I'm sorry, Mark. I still think Gruyev in the 10 is wild, by the way. Sorry, go on, Joe.
I think in terms of lessons learned, I think the biggest lesson that we learned is that we quite badly need a right back in. Because that second half, as much as we didn't score a goal, we were fairly dominant. Defensively, we looked comfortable when we were in that nice firm defensive structure. When we were going forwards, we weren't creating that much, but we were still nicely probing. And the goal came from Shackleton getting not only losing the ball, but after he lost the ball, deciding, I'll press him. Which fair enough. I back the energy, but if you've got somewhere that is more consistently playing matches, is actually a dedicated right back rather than Shackleton, who's been yanked all over the spot by different managers. I don't think we concede that goal if Archie Gray's playing, but he's injured, and I think is proof that we are 1 or 2 injuries away from potential problems. And if we don't make a signing at right back, it's not good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Some more comments from Farker, folks. So Somerville had issues with an adductor yesterday. So yeah, that's the reason he wasn't in the squad. Shit sandwich, I'll give you a positive now. Leeds are now unbeaten in 17 matches at home across all competitions from the start of the season for the first time since 73-74. There is a positive in there. On the substitutions, which a lot of people are critical of. He said, I wouldn't say they grew into the game, talking, I guess, of Plymouth and talking about the timing of his own subs. He just said, if you don't kill the game with so many chances after 60, 70 minutes, then, of course, the opposition begin to speculate a bit more. And it is, I agree with him in that respect, to be honest. Like, although they did make changes and go for the game, and we sort of didn't. But I think at this stage, I'm just used to it. Go on, sorry.
Is he saying our subs didn't get into the game?
It's strange the way it's worded, because he almost says that. Just one moment, and I'll get it.
Because I was going to say, because you can't expect 5 minutes for Bamford and then say, "Come on, why is he not doing enough?" Because then it's the timing of the substitutes, isn't it?
Yeah,
but if it's to do Plymouth, then fair enough.
Farke on the timing of his substitutions. I don't know how the question was posed, but he says, I wouldn't say they grew into the game. If you don't kill the game with so many chances after 60, 70 minutes, they think they speculate a bit more. It's quite normal. Almost feels like he's talking about theirs.
Yeah, that's a bit.
Yeah,
if he is talking about ours, if he is talking about ours, then surely he's the one that has to take that blame. You know what I mean? That's. But just quickly backtrack, like real backtrack to something we said about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Cooper, might be an unpopular opinion, but this season I don't think he's had a bad performance.
No, he's great today.
I really don't.
He was great.
I genuinely don't. Yeah, he's great today, and I just that was just out there. I was going to say it and chip in, but now it feels a bit irrelevant.
No. I think you bang on. I just think people, unfortunately, just dislike him for whatever reason. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but again, it becomes like you want Ayling gone, and now you're fuming at the club for letting him go, and it's like,
Like,
Some of us wanted Ayling gone. Can I just say?
No, but I'm just saying the general consensus. I'm not on about you.
No, I know. Yeah. But can I just ask a question though to those people that did believe that, especially seeing the way the transfer window's gone? Do you think we would have looked better or worse today with Ayling in that right back role? Because I think we would have looked a lot better.
I think Ayling makes the exact same defensive mistake as Jamie Shackleton that leads to the goal.
Yeah. I disagree personally, but why do you think he does?
Because
he's that type
it was a case of Shackleton. It was a case of Shackleton getting caught too high up after attacking. How many times have we said Ayling's great going forwards, but it's the getting back that's the issue? It's very Ayling-y, the specific mistake in this case.
If you were going to agree with that, sorry to cut you off, Joe. If we were going to agree with that, that Ayling and Shackleton make the same mistake, would you not say Ayling would have done more offensively in the game to counteract that? Because even if they would have made the same mistake, who do you think would have contributed more going forward? Potentially, he could have created an extra goal. Maybe it would have been 2-1 instead of 1-1. Could you not look at that?
I think
Could you not look at the fact that it would make more sense to get rid of Shackleton than it would to get rid of Luke Ayling?
But Jamie Shackleton wasn't pushing for a move. Ayling wanted minutes, so...
Ayling wanted to go, and I think because of his loyalty to the club, we allowed that. You know what I mean? And I think, if it's anybody else, maybe we don't, mate. But I do have to agree with Joe. I just think Shackleton was too overzealous, man. He just got caught in no man's land, and then was like still thinking we're playing Beelzebub. I'll just go and get it. I'll go and get it, and then before you know it, it's in behind us. And there was a massive. It just went in the space that he totally negated. And that's where they score from. It's a great pass across. Melier tries to come out to meet it. I mean, let's be honest, they could have had, if it weren't for Byram heading one off the line, they could have won that game, So just think ourselves lucky we didn't lose the game in the end, and we're unbeaten still, and we have another game to play and hopefully progress. If we don't, it is what it is. But I think I want to win games of football. And if that means more games, then it means more games. It is what it is. But
I think at the end of the day, we've just got to be positive at the end of it. Like, yes, we've had our moans and groans, but we haven't lost the game. Do you know what I mean?
No,
I think we're annoyed because we've got to play them again because we think it's going to damage our league form, and that's why we're all annoyed as fans, because it's nothing to do with. And that's why I've been saying for this sort of whole live, it's hard to really pinpoint. Like, I can't sit here and go, we were so awful, blah, 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 because we weren't. But we just let them, the complacency and tiredness and arrogance probably let Plymouth back into the game. And I think we're more annoyed as fans and probably players and managers, like Daniel Farke, that we just have to play him in that annoying period of in between league games. And I think that's what we're all kind of just upset about. I don't think we can necessarily say Shackleton, blah, blah. Well, we can, of course, we can always criticize the players, but I feel like I can't say that was a terrible performance. I think it's just an annoying performance because of the arrogance, and then annoying result because of the league.
100%. And just to think, so just some further clarity on that whole substitution thing. So Farke was disappointed with the results, not the performance. Glad to be in the hat. Paid credit to Plymouth, and he said the reason he didn't make changes because he didn't feel Argyle had grown that much in the game, so therefore didn't feel he needed to impact it.
Yeah,
and he also did finish up by saying that Somerville will be okay for Bristol City, which is important, which is obviously next Friday. Listen, I would love to ask you all for your man of the match, but I think we'll all say Jayden. I think that's fair enough, considering the goal and his performance and the situation he found himself in. I thought it was wild this week. I seen takes on social media somehow criticising him and saying, it shouldn't matter about the situation. Wild.
Yeah.
I didn't want to
humans
engage
at the end
in
of the day, aren't they?
Humans, yeah, exactly. But I think we'll leave it there. I think we've genuinely got as much of that out of it as we can. It's going to be a tough few weeks now. I'd rather, would you rather be? Look, it's easy to say I'd rather be Ipswich, but they're out. You want to win games of football. We're still in the hat. And momentum's key. Leeds still have it. We didn't lose. That's now unbeaten for the first time since 66, 67 or whatever it is. We're breaking records left, right and centre, and long may that continue. Please do smash a like on this video. Make sure you check out Joe Blackburn. At Joe Blackburn. Make sure you check out Ollie at Ollie Ward. Make sure you check out JT at JT Live. And I'll probably see you tomorrow at some point. Final word as well. We'll be on tomorrow as well. So make sure you look out for that. Make sure you check out the rest of the lads, their post-match content and no doubt transfer content. Look, the window closes this with less than a week now. So let's get amongst it. Show some love to all the creators, and we'll see you in a bit. Peace out now.